What's good, my people? Welcome into Buckets, Action Network's NBA Daily Betting Podcast. We're in the workshop. Sean Little filling in for Matt Moore. If it's the Tuesday Buckets episode, you already know who's on here. AC Analytics Capper, of course, and J Money is Money, Mr. Let's Cash himself. AC, how you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. You and I were talking about this offline. Jay and I online on a lot of plays tomorrow night. I feel good. I feel good.
J Money is Money. How we feeling?
Hey, feeling good, man. Coming off a nice day, just trying to keep it going. You see what I'm saying? I always say it doesn't matter coming off a nice day. You got to keep it going the next day. So let's get this cash.
6 games on the Tuesday NBA slate. AC Analytics Capper, kick it off. What are you looking at for the Tuesday slate?
I love this spot for the Atlanta Hawks. They're playing at home against Cleveland. They're getting +1.5. Some books have it at +1, but I think they win outright.
And J Money is Money. You looking at something very similar.
Yeah, so I guess to be a little bit different, I'll go ahead and take Hawks on the money line, +105, just to be a little different, but it's the same play. And I also like them first quarter as well. The line isn't out yet, but it should be somewhere +0.5 in the morning. I don't care. Give me Hawks minus whatever in the first quarter.
Yeah, Hawks taking on the Cavaliers. AC, kick us off. Why do you like the Hawks here in this spot?
Yeah, this is a great buy low spot. They played against Memphis a couple nights ago. They lost by 4. It was kind of a bad beat for those who were on the Hawks that game. They fouled Memphis, and the Grizzlies hit one of 2 free throws at the end to actually get the cover there. But this head-to-head matchup, Atlanta has dominated. I think they've covered 6, maybe 5 or last 6 games. It's also the Atlanta nightlife spot on Tuesday night, right? So, I mean, it's a really good spot. Cleveland's come in hot. 4 game winning streak. So it's a good time to not really fade that, but find an opportunity to kind of go against it there. So I like the Hawks, man. I think they are getting ready for the playoffs too. So give me the Hawks.
Yeah, it's interesting because we know Cleveland is a defense first squad, but that defense takes a little dip when they go on the road, goes up nearly 6 points to 112.5 when they do take it on the road, and they'll be in Atlanta. All right, J Money is Money. You feel the same way. Break it down for me.
Yeah, and honestly, I hope that Jared Allen doesn't play in this game. I never make a play based off of injury, but with him listed as questionable with a groin injury, I've strained both of my groins. It's not something that you really can even really run with, in my opinion. I mean, you really even struggle to walk. Obviously, I mean, if it's an actual groin injury, but regards to that, I feel like even if he plays here, man, I like the Hawks here. They're 1 game under 500. They have a lot more to fight for in this one. They're 4-0 at the house. Their last 4 versus the Cavs in this one. They're also 5-2 ATS. Last 7 versus the Cavs as well, and already beaten them one time this season as well, February 24th. They did catch the Cavs on a back-to-back in that one, but I also like the Hawks in here to the first quarter as well. They're 5-1 ATS in their last 6 games in the first quarter, and the Cavs as well. They're only 1-3 when coming from home, heading out on the road. They're 1-3 ATS in that first quarter. So I like the Hawks here early and often. Like I said, it would really help if Jared Allen is not in this game, but even if he does play, I still like the Hawks in this one. I do think I like some pieces off the bench as well, a little bit of matchup. So and they've been alternating wins and losses as well. They hadn't lost back-to-back games in the last 7 games. So in my opinion, this is somewhat of a must-win type of spot for the Hawks here. On the last game of this homestand, they have everything to fight for, where the Cavs are somewhat kind of cemented into that 4th seed. And now they technically could catch the Sixers, but I don't think it's going to happen. They're 3 back in the loss column. Give me the Hawks here first quarter in full game.
Yeah, Sean, if I could jump in really quick, I fully agree with Jay. They're already entrenched in that 4th spot. They're 5 games up on the Knicks. They play the Knicks, I believe, on Thursday night. So that's probably a bigger game for them, to be honest. If they were to get up for a game out of these 2, would be against the Knicks. And then we know that the Hawks, with their new coach, Quinn Snyder, they just play really well after a loss. I have the numbers here. They are 5-1 against the spread after losing against the spread in the previous game. So they bounce back really well. It's one of those seesaw teams similar to the Mavs. They'll win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So I think the pattern holds true here with Atlanta.
Last time the Atlanta Hawks hosted the Cavaliers, a great defensive team, they put up 136 on them. So there's no doubt that it's a potential spot where, offensively, the Hawks have had success, and they do have everything to play for. Now, let me ask you this, is because I agree, I do like the spot on the bounce back, and they are looking ahead to that Knicks clash. It's on Friday. They're 0-2 against the Knicks. The Cleveland Cavaliers are as well this year. The Knicks covered the spread in both games. Both games were grinders, but the Knicks grinded them out and ended up getting the W. I think they could be looking ahead to that matchup on Friday against the Knicks, and that potential playoff slot, that 4 versus 5, is the potential playoff. It's almost like a preview into that first round. They'll be ready for that matchup. All right, let's Jay. We were talking about Orlando in that spot before we got in. Talk to me about you're leaning that way, or something we haven't put out an official play on yet, but you were talking about that matchup coming into Tuesday.
Yeah, heavily leaning to the Magic here, guys. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this team is playing really well. I actually bet against them on Sunday and got my money took as well. So I'm still a little salty from that, but still, the Magic have been playing really well. I'm talking about 3-1 straight up last 4 games, 6-0 against the spread last 6, and that's including going on a road trip as well versus both LA teams, the Suns, obviously the Spurs. Well, I can't say that was a bad loss to the Spurs. They lost that one by 18, but since then they covered every single spread and still 7-1 ATS last 8 as well. This Magic team has been playing some really good ball. You look at the other side of the island, always look at both sides of the spectrum, right? You got the Grizzlies here coming in red hot. Ja Morant is doubtful in this one, but it's the first game of a back-to-back. They play the Clippers the next night, so this is possibly a look-ahead spot for the Grizzlies. I know they ball out at the house, but with them resting Ja in this one, it kind of tells me even more that they're looking ahead to the huge matchup versus the Clippers. Like I said, they have revenge in that one. I know they've won 6 straight, but I have a sneaky feeling that the Magic can keep this one within the number. I mean, if not, shock them in with an outright win. This team is playing together. They got some dogs over there. Franz Wagner. You got Jalen Suggs came back with he came back off an absence, scored 16 points. Markelle Fultz is playing out of his mind right now. Cole Anthony can give you 15 to 20 off the bench. So this Magic team is really deep. They have the size to contend with these guys with Jaren Jackson Jr. down low. And this could also be a game where Jaren Jackson Jr. gets into foul trouble as well. And then I don't think that's going to spell well for a Grizzlies team on the first night of a back-to-back. I'm kind of like it's not kind of. I like the Magic here plus the 7.5. I think it's the right side in this game.
AC Paulo Banchero quote tweeted a quote that said the Magic are 27-23 in their last 50. Banchero retweeted it and quote tweeted it and said, they think we're tanking. Are you feeling the same way as Jay Money with how the Orlando Magic have been playing?
I don't know why he retweeted that, because I think everybody in the NBA knows they're not trying to tank. They're trying to win these games. They actually tried really hard to make the playoffs. They're gonna fall short. I think they're 4.5, 5 games outside of the 10 spot. Maybe they run the table and get in. But I agree with Jay, man. Like, this is an Orlando spot. This could be one of those Jay Money specials where they hit first quarter, first half, and then the game might be a little close. But I think the Grizzlies are going to come out and take the Magic lightly in this game. It's also a good regression spot for the Grizzlies. They hit 25 and 13 threes in their last 2 games. That's not sustainable. So maybe they take them lightly and then actually turn it up in the second half to cover. But I do like Orlando early in this game.
Yeah, I like it. I like their whole squad. Their roster construction is a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to them getting better and better as the years roll on. The other interesting spot on the slate, at least in my opinion, was Raptors hosting the Heat, currently -3. I can't figure out the Raptors. One night they want to play, the next night it seems like they don't. They've kind of been doing that all year. Heat potentially desperate, but they look like they're solidified in their playoff slot as well. Any thoughts on that matchup?
Yeah, I'll go first here. It's crazy because this is actually the other game that I feel like I somewhat have a strong feel on. Not sure if I'm going to get there with the Heat, but the Heat +3 is the only way I could look in this one. This is the 4th and final matchup of the season. The Heat are only 1-2 versus the Raptors in this one, so they've lost the last couple. So you could argue this is a double revenge spot for the Heat. They're coming off a horrible loss in that one versus the versus who did they play in the last game? They're coming off a horrible loss versus the Brooklyn Nets. They got smoked in that game.
Yeah.
They lost the game by 30 points. And the Heat actually were kind of starting to get a little momentum. Now their offense has picked up, the defense has really dropped. But I just kind of feel like this is a game where the Raptors will. I mean, they have a big game versus Philly on deck, right? They hit this the last game of a homestand before they head out on the road. Like you said, the Raptors are very inconsistent. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Jimmy Butler and the boys, and I believe this game is on NBA TV as well. So I wouldn't be a bit surprised Jimmy Butler rally the guys and say, hey, look, let's go and get this win on national TV. I could only look towards the Heat here plus the 3, and I actually lean that way pretty heavily.
An interesting number, AC, before you hop in, is this year straight up as an underdog, the Heat are 5-14. Mm-hmm. Now the Raptors are not much better; they're 10-20 as an underdog, but they're the favorite here in this spot at home, where they're 27-18 straight up, 26-18-1 to the over as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, so I don't disagree with what Jay said, but at the same time, I don't agree with the Heat, because honestly, I think it's a Heat play every single play. Like if you look at the line, look at the matchups, they should be covering all these games. But there's a big reason why they're the worst covering team in the NBA, right? And you expect that to turn. So much talent on that team, great coaching on that team, good defense on that team, and I've just been like screwed over by this team all season long, because I read it the same way Jay read it. Like +3 in Toronto. Toronto's been playing hot. Miami just got blown out by 30 and they're only 3-point dogs. It's a Miami screamer. I just can't get there. Like maybe they're a playoff team. Maybe they'll cover in the playoffs, but right now I'm just not going to touch them.
Yeah, those are probably the two most volatile teams in the East. If you could throw the Bulls in there, of course, the most polarizing team on earth.
One more thing, guys. I think the Heat have the much better bench in this one. I'm really worried about their Raptors bench. They're banged up. I know Scotty Barnes came back the last game. Chris Chua came back, but he only played like 5 minutes. I'm really worried about the Raptors' depth. Their starting 5 can match up with the best of them, in my opinion. But when the bench comes in, let me just say that's when the Raptors give up the runs. So they better play their starters 40 minutes in this one if they want to win this game.
We're going to leave it there. To recap, AC's on the Hawks +1.5. Jay's also on the Hawks +1.5. And the Hawks first quarter, depending on what that number is out there. But you can follow him on the Action Network at JMoneyIsMoney. You can follow AC as well, myself as well, at Chicago Flow, across the board on Twitter as well. I know I don't even have to ask the fellas this. I know we can agree on this. Look to fade the Portland Trailblazers the rest of the year. They're going to continue to lose by 30+ every night. That whole situation, Dame is completely being shut down. We know the story there, but we want to talk about the Magic not shutting it down and playing hard throughout the rest of the season here. It's the exact opposite for the Portland Trailblazers. For AC Analytics Capper, for J Money is Money, I am your host, Sean Little. Shout out to our guys over at FanDuel for always holding us down. Always remember, get buckets, baby.